call the meeting to order. You want to do roll call, Harley?
Yes. Tom Flannery.
Here.
Aaron Balderston.
Here.
Kayla Levy.
Here.
Jeremiah Gruenberg is absent, and Mason Martin is absent.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Then we can,
All in favor?
all we have to do, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All opposed?
Same.
Same sign. Okay. The agenda has been approved. Welcome visitors. First of all, we'll go into public hearing for the 22-23 budget amendment at 6:01.
So it's the current year's budget amendment we discussed previous meeting about the two line items that will need to be increased due to some coding and some capital expenditures. But nothing really out of the ordinary. It's a pretty standard procedure to amend the budget, so you don't exceed it. I think I've not wasted a minute yet, but you can ask if there's any comments from the
Does anybody have any comments to the public hearing for the 22-23 budget amendment? No comments? We still have to wait for a little bit. Can't close it till 6:02.
It helps make the minutes a little cleaner.
Yeah.
Was that what we talked about? I didn't make it to the last meeting, right? I think I wasn't sure that day, or had some people on, that basically you mentioned maybe.
That's right, Erin. So just as a recap, let me get my notes
We
here.
talked about at the previous meeting.
No.
We talked about
Okay.
the next year's budget at the previous meeting.
Okay.
So this is this current year that we're in, just amending the total support services line, due to some coding that I got from the Department of Ed, changes of expenditures, and then non-instructional programs, which would be our nutrition fund. Just increasing that due to increased expenses.
And that's increasing that by that third line over. That's what we're doing.
Correct, and it will, you have increasing it by that to total the fourth line.
Yep.
And as a review, since we're talking a little more detail, that does not mean that we're taxing more, taking in more, anything like that. It's just where things, it's not gonna cause us to go backwards financially.
Setting a budget is always tricky because you do it so far in advance. So we're setting, next year's budget and just ending this year. So it's kind of hard because you don't have a final number to really set your next year's budget on. So that's why you often see these amendments.
Just kind of making sure you're allocating those funds where you're gonna have enough for the next year on everything. Is that kind of what we're?
No, this is about current year.
Okay.
And it's just about expenditures and how they're gonna come in.
The agenda item is in a little bit, and so let's close the hearing. That gives you time to circle back if you want more clarification.
Okay, we can close the public hearing at 6:03. Next, we'll have public comments to the board, and we have one blue card here from Bethany Saracen.
Hi, I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention, so I don't know who all in the school got notified, but the Iowa League of Cities, every year they run a writing contest for If I Were Mayor, and the winner from District 2 actually came from our very own 7th grade class. So first of all, I would like to thank your teachers for, I don't know if this was voluntary or something the entire class did, but I think it's a great exercise for the students to think about contributing to their community as well as just being good leaders within the community. And then congratulations to Brianna Gage for winning within District 2. So I believe she gets a trip to Des Moines at some point. I think that got rescheduled due to the governor's availability, but don't know if you had heard. So I appreciate the school for supporting the Iowa League of Cities.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you for the information. Appreciate it. I see her periodically in different sporting events, so I'll have to remember to congratulate her too. It's neat. Okay, next we'll go into board reports, starting with department leaders. We have none. Curriculum departments, also none. Administrators?
Very short tonight. I have nothing really new to report, just getting end of the year stuff done and beginning to start the transition to middle school. Adam's been very helpful and supportive of keeping me in the loop on things he's maybe doing to finish up the year to start next year. And it's been really cool to have us in the same building and then down the line Bailey in the same building. So she's starting to get to make some decisions that are going to impact her and that staff next year. So that's been good. So that's my report tonight.
But similarly, keeping it short, just helping with the very confusing transition of Mr. Henriksen to Mr. Henriksen. But next year there will only be one in the building, so that may alter some of the confusion that happens currently. So yeah, just working a lot with Josh to make sure that it's an easy transition for staff, students, and families. Then our kind of last big thing, next week, Monday, 8th grade Adventureland trip. Knock on wood, somebody looked out the weather forecast, looks pretty good. 76 and mostly sunny. So excited to get those kids down there and let them have kind of one last hurrah in middle school, and because then they're off to high school. So that would be exciting for them.
So we should be thanking you for helping with the less confusing name situation.
On that note, June, we typically don't have principals at the board meeting, and so no reports. This is Mr. H's last board report tonight, and thank you for your service.
I'd like to
Thank
thank
you.
you as well
But,
for everything that you've done, and we'll miss you.
yeah, we'll miss you a lot.
Best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Brian.
All right, I'm gonna keep it real short as well. Two things just regarding hiring. In the hiring aspect right now, we've got business and ag opening right now, and just give you a little update on business. We're kind of struggling with that as well. But so what we're gonna do is in the human services area, or in the CTE world, not human services, we have to have 4 service areas in order to be compliant with the state of Iowa. And right now, our business and ag and industrial tech and FCS would be our 4. Well, right now, we're with Mr. Laffer leaving and going to another school. We are really struggling to find a business teacher. And so what we're going to possibly do, or what we're looking at doing, is having a staff member that would become certified in CTE in information solutions. It's a computer science side of things. And so I'm just giving you as a board heads up a little bit about, if you see us not hire a business teacher, but we do hire a information solution computer science teacher that would fill. The reason why we're doing that is because we can't find a business teacher, and we have a person on staff right here that's willing to go back and do that and get that, and then certify our 4 service areas for our CTE program. So they would still do the FBLA. That's still an option. And FBLA is a business leadership, but in the law, the CTE areas have to have a CTSO. Sorry for all those acronyms there, but we could still use the FBLA, and the person that runs into the information solutions part can still sponsor that business CTSO. So I don't foresee us losing out on anything other than having a information solutions teacher instead of a business teacher. I just wanted to give you an update on the board on that. The other thing is in our agenda today, we're also, Mrs. Dietzman is leaving as our ag instructor. Right now it's been open for a week and we have 0 applicants. And so what I've been doing is working with Iowa State's Ag Educator Placement Coordinator, I think is kind of what it is. He's given us some options to look at. We've got about 3 options. Still continue to look for a new person to come in here. But they also have ag educators that will graduate in December of 2023, and then again in May of 2024. And so you as a board, just wanted you to be aware that there might be some moving and shaking as far as maybe trying to find an interim and going that route. And I've been working with a colleague of mine at my last school who happens to be one of the premier FFA instructors in the state, and he's on all of the state ag teachers, state committees. And I asked him the other day, I said, where can I find a young you, in a good way, I tried not to offend him. And he said, you know, he goes, right now, what I've been told, that there's nobody like this that you're looking for. And so, we're gonna do our due diligence, but I also want you as the board to know that, there's gonna be some creative, pieces to this, and that it's not gonna be as streamlined as resignation, interview, do our reference checks, and then hire. That's not more than likely gonna be the case for this ag and FFA instructor. So, those are the two bits on hiring that I wanted to just keep you in the loop on, and we'll go from there.
Two things. One, I want to say thanks for your due diligence on that, because I don't want to rush into anything like we discussed before. I think that's good that you're covering bases there. So I'm good with finding the quality person and not getting in a rush. And two is, though, the difference between the information solution
Information solutions, yep.
and like a business, what would the main difference be between
Sure,
that?
great question. Information solution would be more about the computer technology, computer science. That's the endorsement that this individual would get. And then for business, you have to have 4 what they call Carnegie units in order to meet your service area. And so what happens is, like in business, we teach in marketing, we teach a intro to business, we do financial literacy, which is, I think, still required by the state of Iowa. And then we do some other things, what it's called agile, just about kind of learning your soft skills of business, being able to interview, being able to write a resume, those types of things that we do in lots of different areas, so we won't be missing out on that. But the business classes, like your marketing, your intro to business, your personal finance, that kind of stuff will not be offered in that area. It will just be offered in some different areas of our school.
But they'll still cover like that financial literacy.
Yep,
say
yep,
like that.
that's a requirement. Actually, our math teacher's doing it for next year. It's called just financial math, same thing, same, we just wouldn't be able to use it for a CTE, one of the Carnegie units.
Okay.
But we should be good to go.
Well, good luck with all that.
Thank you.
Look
again.
Next, business manager, Harley, do you have?
Yes, I actually do have. So last month on the consent agenda was the sharing agreement with Springville for the human resource manager. It's a sharing 20% of an employee so it's 5 different districts, 1 day in each district a week. One of the districts backed out, and so Springville is reworking that contract a little bit. And they've asked if we would be interested in sharing a little more, so I spoke to Danny about increasing it from 0.2 to 0.3, which is 10% increase. So it's a couple more days a month, but do feel like it'd be beneficial to our operations in the central office just to get somebody in to segregate the duties, and that would be something that the board should be interested in to make sure that I'm getting someone to double check my work, and especially with the transition, just making sure I have somebody here to be doing that.
What would this position be, did you say?
It's called a shared HR manager position. It's been in place for a long time. We've always had 20% of the contract, but with that other district stepping out of their 20%, it would just, they're just looking at options. And so I will probably bring it back on the consent agenda next month, just revised probably to that 30% versus the 20% it was approved at.
Okay.
And then, no, I think that's it actually for me.
Okay. Board members? You said anything?
I do. I just wanted to let everybody know that, just for no other reason than so that we can start, putting the word out there to everybody, that I will not run again for another term, but that election is in November, and I asked Danny if her and Harley could put something together as far as like when somebody would need to get their paperwork and their signatures and all of that, and what time frame they have to do that. So, and I do know that there is a community member, Tiffany Jurgensen, that has been, would like to she's trying to put a committee together to just kind of educate the public and the community on like, what does a school board member do? Hopefully, possibly put together a forum for anybody that is running in the fall. I know when I ran my first time that there was a public forum so that people could actually come and listen to it and see what the candidates are saying and what, you know, who they want to vote for. I know last time there was an election, there was a kind of like, why don't we know anything about these people and what do you know? And so kind of just to put the word out there to everybody in the community so that, you know, there's definitely gonna be, I'm not gonna run again, so, do you have
Yeah.
the details on
So
that?
I can't take credit for this is actually from the Lynn County, but they put out these 2 documents. The red one is really more like the logistics of how to file for a school board election. These are those QR codes you can scan, it'll take you right to the documents. But filing does start Monday, August 28th and ends Thursday, September 21st of this year. So that's the affidavit of candidacy, the nomination petition, but you don't need the college community one, and then this is actually the guide for the Secretary of State. And this document here, the orange one, would be more resources on things that you can do when running for election, maps, voter lists, those kind of things. So I have copies of these, and I'm willing to give them to whoever, so just send them my way. Also, they can be found online, I believe. So.
I just think it is important for people to know so that start getting the word out to people that there will be an election, so.
Well, thank you for all your years of service to
Yeah.
it. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure I speak for,
It'll be 12, yep.
I speak for everyone here when we say your experience will be missed on the board for sure.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for the heads up.
Mhm.
Superintendent, Danny?
And it is School Board Recognition Month, so you have certificates at your place, so in addition, thank you, Kayla, for your service, but
Yes.
to all of you who give your time to the school district, it is appreciated, and it's your month, so there you go. Second, district goal impact report. This, we've kind of evolved over the years how we kind of track our progress on goals, and so what I've got on the screen is the most recent way we've been processing through this. It should look familiar. This is how it was presented last year. There are 5 district goals, so that's the purple circles over on that poster. And then within each of them, those are, I consider like long-range broad goals. Each year, what are our action steps that we intend to take? So that's that middle column. And the rest of the report is what are some bits of information that we can provide regarding how did we do and what are our steps for next year. So all 5 areas are in this document. I will happily send this to you for more thorough digesting. It's certainly yours to do as well. Equally important, I'll be visiting with Will Dybel about this and passing it on to him. His format might end up being entirely different, but this is a place that he can pick up on regarding those district goals and the work that our teams in the buildings are doing. So just high-level report on that for tonight. And then one comment on an item on the consent agenda. We, this year, converted our IT services over to Grantwood AEA, tech services. They've been fantastic. We have, of course, one person who serves on site and then basically a whole team of people at our as a resource, depending on the type of issue that it is. So they've helped us get that infrastructure piece put together for work this summer that you approved last month. Anyway, when we started into the arrangement with Grantwood AEA, they predicted what kind of service we would need. We agreed, let's try it at that, and through the course of the year, they would say, we would say it wasn't quite enough. So I wanted to make sure that you knew the renewal that you're seeing tonight for IT services is gonna get us 1 day a week more, which I think is very appropriate. The cost is appropriate, around, I'll just open it so there's not confusion. It'll increase the cost, but we just most certainly need it with about 850 students plus all the staff related, in comparison to, sometimes our certified enrollment number can make us look like a much smaller school than we are, and I think that might have just kind of been a mismatch in everyone's thinking. Clear down, yeah. We will be increasing with this approval on your consent agenda, unless you tell me otherwise, to $50,000 instead of the 35 for this year.
It was 35 before it moved to 50.
Yeah. I think very much needed, and I guess if you have concerns about that, I wanted to make sure I highlighted it in my report, so you had an opportunity to pull it separate and discuss it if you want.
Mhm.
But service has been fantastic.
Good.
That is my report.
Excellent, thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion has been, or the consent agenda has been moved and seconded. Do you have any further discussion? No further discussion. Do we have any nays? Did I do that out of order?
We give you lots of room to practice the first time, so you
Great.
want, all those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
What about you, Tom?
Aye. All those opposed? None opposed, the motion passes. We'll move on to dialogue action items. First, the 22-23 budget amendment.
So this is what we just held the hearing on, so if you have any further questions, I can answer them now. Otherwise, just asking you to approve, and then I'll take it down to the office, the county office, and we'll get it recorded.
Make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 budget amendment.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 22-23 budget amendment. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Is that better?
That was so smooth.
Next is the 23-24 fee schedule.
Again, we would like to recommend no increase in fees across the board. There is one exception, that is the adult meal pricing, that has to do with our requirement that we price it according to the cost. So just again, being mindful of the current state of affairs for our families, we feel like these are appropriate prices.
Make a motion to approve the 2023-2024 fee schedule.
I'll second it.
Okay, the 23-24 fee schedule has been, has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next is the primary food and supply vendor, Eastern Iowa Purchasing Group.
And Tom, for all three of the next items, these are direct recommendations from Denise. Hopefully, if you had any specific questions, not hearing from you over the weekend, I didn't bring you any additional information from Denise, so I probably will let you just roll through them as you think you're ready.
Okay. Can we do them all at the same time?
No, but you can roll through them pretty simply.
Okay. I have a motion for the primary food and supply vendor.
I'll move to approve this kind of purchasing group for the primary food
I'll second
and
it.
supply.
Oops, sorry.
It's all right.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the primary food and supply vendor, Eastern Iowa Purchasing Group. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Milk vendor, contract extension and milk quote to Anderson Erickson Dairy.
Make a motion to approve the milk vendor contract extension and milk quote for Anderson Erickson Dairy.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded for the milk vendor for contract extension and milk quote to Anderson Erickson Dairy. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. food service chemical products, EMS detergent services. Kind of the same deal there.
Make a motion to approve the food service chemical products EMS detergent services.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the food service chemical products EMS detergent services. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Technology purchase, student Chromebooks.
We did fall out of rotation slightly in our transition to Brentwood AEA between the last provider. And so this puts us right back on schedule, much needed. It's important that we do 1/3 of those student Chromebooks every year. So there are 200 of them quoted here as recommended by our IT provider through Dell. Unless you have any specific questions that I would have to refer to, the technical side, I would need to refer to our provider, but $52,778. Also important for you to keep in mind, this is budgeted out of PEPL. Every year we do some for technology, some for transportation, and some for projects. This is in that slot for student and staff technology. And moving forward, I have also expanded the line item next year for student and staff technology. That doesn't impact this decision tonight, but for your information, I believe I opened that up to 85,000 as our numbers grow, so that in the future you can see how that fits within your
Have room
PEPL
for it.
funding. Yep. So this is well within the range of what we've allocated even before that expanded budget.
I do have one question, probably pretty simple, but have you seen a big increase from when you purchased 200 before? Has it, percentage-wise, have they gone up quite a bit, or are they staying about the same?
I feel like they're staying about the same, because as technology evolves, it might bump a little bit, then it settles back into the market, what people are paying, so.
So it seems fairly consistent.
Yep, we were just talking with Sean, one of the providers today, about the staff Chromebooks that we are bringing online. We're doing 30 of them this year yet, and the newest one, now they did give us a markdown on them, but we're paying about $700 a unit for those more robust machines. And let me open this quote again. But generally speaking, to answer your question, no, they're at $263. Actually, I feel like it's quite a bit less than some of their numbers we were seeing on student Chromebooks. $400 or $500 maybe when we first started doing it. Don't quote me on that, but it seems about that.
Make a motion to approve the technology purchase of student Chromebooks.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the technology purchase for student Chromebooks. All in favor of the motion, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion
Did
passes.
you say aye?
I did.
Okay.
Gifting class composite to Alburnett Historical Society.
So hopefully this item not only accomplishes, if you would agree, what to do with the composites, but perhaps answers some questions. They came off the wall months and months and months ago, and rumor mill being what it is, I promise you they're not in the garbage. I promise you we don't lack care for the history. Mr. Moritz instead has been taking on a really neat project that maybe you want to talk about.
Yeah, we've been looking for, since I started 5 years ago, of continuing the composite story out there. And what it really came down to is, with everything, is the amount of expense it was to do a class composite of 50 to 70 students was just more than my stomach could take, as far as that goes. It was $1 for every cut they had to do when they did their matted format that we saw out there. And if you just did quick math, that was over $1,000, and all the way up to a couple $1,000 just to do a class composite. So I was working with Dr. Trimble and wondering if we could go to a digital side of things, and we've actually got a person whose kids go to school here. Marco is his first name. I can't remember his last name right now. He's got some elementary student. What?
No?
Yeah, that's it. He works for a company called Arreya, A-R-R-E-Y-A, something like that. And they've done a really wonderful job, and what they're doing is they're putting together a touchscreen 55-inch that will go out into the auditorium as you enter into there. And what they're doing is they've taken pictures of all those class composites and they are composing them into a touchscreen. So like when you come in, they'll have all Alburnett class composites, and then if you wanted to find where you are, you, like for me, I'd go into the 1990s, click the 1990s, don't even say it, you people, all right?
I'm with you.
I know, thank you, Dr. Trimble. You hit the 1990s and it comes up and it'll come up with the 90 through 99. And then what you would do is you would touch that screen as well. And then, like for instance, if I would have graduated here, I'd find my name, I'd click on my picture, and it would pop your picture up right there in front of you. And we're working on, this system is pretty complex as far as what it can do, not complex of running it. It's just a touch screen. But one of the things that I think is really cool about Alburnett is all the connections that people have. And so what we're gonna try to do is through the couple different things we're gonna do is with, like, for instance, if like Aaron graduated from here, he could click on his name and then it would see all of his lineage as far as family members that would be connected to Aaron. And so you're gonna see all those things pop up, and then you can click and it'll go all the way back to the 1928, I think was our first picture out there. And it's got all the Toddville, it's got everybody in it, so all the family lineage will be in there. Then we also want to do kind of things like, we got some really prominent alumni that have been around or doing really good things. We also want to have a page for that as well, so they can click on that and they can pop their picture up and it'll have everything underneath them. So hoping to have that done and ready to go before school starts. We're really kind of waiting on tearing down the drywall wall there so that we can get that installed. They're working on it as we speak. I shared a URL with Dr. Trimble so she can kind of see what it looks like and where it's going. It's a live website, but it'll all be touchscreen right in here. And so instead of flipping through the pages like you did out here, you're just gonna have to go to the touchscreen, touch your year, and go. And the nice part about the system is if, a community member comes up and go, hey, have you ever thought about doing this with us? All that stuff can be added for really no cost, because they're there to help us and move it. And
Sounds really neat.
we do have, and they're right in Hiawatha, so it's like they can come right out to us. So they've got them all over the country, and pretty excited about it. I know I've gotten a few emails like, why did we tear down those and throw all of those away? We did not do that. But in the same token, that's a little bit about it, and I think it's gonna be really cool to see that, especially that lineage part. That's kind of the one I'm looking forward to the most.
It's neat.
So the actual agenda item tonight is preserving the old, like, physical composites. Now, we do have storage issues here, and as people turn over the years, there's the possibility of them not being just carried on and kept well. So we did reach out to the Alburnett Historical Society. They've had a meeting to talk to their leadership about whether or not they would accept them if you gift them to the society. They made some comments about how they would store them, bring them out at certain class reunions. So they'll still have life and maybe in a better place than stored here somewhere. So the request for you board tonight is to officially, because we can't just give them without your blessing, to gift those composites to the society.
In the future, there will be no hanging pictures like that, then obviously, because and as you get more numbers grow, obviously, this is actually kind of more condensed and.
Right.
Well, it's kind of the way, it's kind of a future thing
Mhm.
anyway, so
Yeah.
keeping up with technology.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask, is there a cost associated with that?
There's always a cost, but it won't be large. And a lot of this has been paid through donations, and I continue to get donations to pay for the whole system. But I think there is a yearly charge, very minimal, but it would be nothing like the cost of doing a composite every year as far as the cost goes.
So a few $100 rather than a few thousand.
Right.
Unfortunately, some of those older composites are certain years in there, they didn't hang together very well, and so they needed to be tended to if we were gonna keep using that system.
It sounds like a neat
I'll move for the gifting of the class composite to the Alburnett Historical Society.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the gifting class composites to Alburnett Historical Society. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Confirm date and time of next regular board meeting, 6 o'clock, June 19th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
6:35.